Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my other videos. I hope if this is your first one, welcome. This is the second episode of my web series called I Am. And for today's episode, it is called I Am Sexuality. I'm going to be talking about my coming out story, what my sexuality is, what I've been through, how I came to understand my identity as a queer Asian, and we're gonna just dive right into it. Last video, I talked about my childhood in the I Am Aloha video. If you haven't watched it yet, please go ahead and check that out. But again, you can watch any of these videos in any order because they're kind of like their own standalone topics. But if you do watch them in order, there's slight overlap between each video and it kind of makes sense as to why I'm going in a certain order. So please go ahead and watch that video as well before this or even after this. It doesn't matter. I just really want you to be able to enjoy the content that I'm producing. So sexuality. I kind of always knew as a kid that I was gay. I played with Barbies growing up. Like I would really always make it a point to go see my cousin Kimberly, and because she had the big Barbie dream house, and I was like, oh my god, this is so freaking cool. Like I thought it was really dope. I always liked and appreciated the pink Power Ranger. I thought she was cool. But now that I think of it, now that I'm older, like Trini, the Yellow Ranger, she was badass. Like she should have been my fave, but for some reason I was standing really hard with Pink Ranger, you know? But I think what alludes more to my sexuality as a kid was my celeb crushes. Oh my god, the Lawrence brothers were one of them. They were all handsome. Power Rangers, you know, like I mentioned, I really like Kimberly and Trini, but come on, Tommy could get it. I even had crushes on freaking cartoons like Dragon Ball Z. Their muscles were on point. Yeah, I just kind of always knew as a kid that I was attracted to male or like men. Also, like relatives would always ask me if I was gonna have a girlfriend anytime soon. Mind you not, this was ever since like I was like what, 8 or 9 that they kept asking if I had a girlfriend, which is pretty like weird. And I think something in my head told me that to not like that question, and I don't know if it was because it was just very like invasive of my freaking personal life, or if it was because I knew that I personally didn't want a girlfriend. So maybe both, I'm not too sure. But growing up though, like a lot of people use very like homophobic slurs saying, oh my god, that's so gay, when they actually meant to say like that's dumb or stupid. So a lot of Filipinos would also be like, oh, are you bakla? Like, is that what you like? And I mean, yeah, I do. That's exactly what I like. But they would always ask that, and you know, being young and not really knowing what sexuality is, but getting the like context clues that it was a negative thing, you know, growing up, I of course was like, no, I don't, what? No, that's not me. Even though like there's a part of me that felt guilty for denying it. So as I got older, I kind of like learned about what it meant to be queer, what it meant to be gay, and I kind of went into denial about it, you know? Unfortunately, I grew up in a very religious household. You know, my mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, and them were all very active. We were always at church, you know, we would pray for everything and anything before we travel, before we eat. Like we were just a very faithful household. The negative effect about that was that I was always in some form of denial and trying to find ways to appease this religious aspect of my life. So I know at one point I tried convincing myself that I wasn't gay. I wasn't like checking guys out. It was more so appreciating the male figure. Bitch. I would sometimes, okay, you know you're gay if you go to, as a kid, you go to the men's underwear section and you check out the fucking models and you're like, damn, that's hot. And you didn't know why, you just like the photos, right? So as I got like in that weird like 9, 10, when you kind of like have a better understanding of sexuality, you're kind of like, oh, no, I'm not gay, I just think that's just how I want to look. And that's total bullshit, because I for sure, yeah, I do want to look like that, but I also wanted that, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, I realized I was gay, but again, I wanted to appease Jesus. And so another thing that a lot of people don't know about me, because of this whole religious twist and trying to fit and be wanting to be part of my church because it was such a foundation in my family. I even thought about transitioning, or I even thought that I was in the wrong body. You know, I told myself that maybe I'm not gay, maybe I am straight, but I'm just supposed to be female. Maybe if I was a girl, this would be okay. And it was a lot of like inner dialogues of trying to convince myself that there was something wrong with me rather than just being me while still liking guys. And so for a quick period of time in my early teens, I really thought that I was in the wrong body, and I had like a gender dysmorphia at one point. Luckily for me, I think I had a lot of friends who were kind of self-aware about their sexuality in middle school and high school. Very prevalent in high school, where I had a lot of friends, and I mentioned this in my previous video, were very openly lesbian, openly gay, and they kind of were the foundation of the support I needed to kind of navigate whether or not I was gay or not, or like to for sure be like, boop, yeah, you're gay. And what I liked about them was they didn't pressure me to figure out my sexuality. It was more so them holding my hand along the way and making sure that I got the support I needed to realize, you know, that I liked the dick. I even had a coworker when I first got a job. I used to work at Levi's at an outlet in my hometown, and there was this one really flamboyant femme gay, and he was like the mama bear of the whole like staff, and he literally pulled me to the side and called me out when we were in the dressing room together when I was training, and he was like, girl, you don't need to hide it from me. Mary knows the tea. You don't need to hide nothing from me, sweetie. And really like literally snatched my fucking wig and called me out, but not in a negative way, more of kind of just like hinting that he knows that I know, but he also wants me to know that it's okay to come out at work and that I'd be welcome there. And for him, I am so appreciative for like taking me under his wing and kind of like not showing me the ropes necessarily, but like giving me the insights of what it means to be openly gay. Whew. So my coming out story, wow. I kind of did what any other kid would do. You tell Tumblr first. Tumblr was a big thing back then. You came out on Tumblr. Then you tell your friends. And after you tell your friends, you tell your family dead last. You probably don't even tell them until you're like really late in your teens or early adulthood that you're gay. But practically everyone basically knew I was gay outside of my family up until I told them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they always suspected because I was very flamboyant as a kid, but they were very in denial and they never assumed that I was gay. Telling my family was a mix of chaos. So I have 3 sisters. I'll go from oldest to youngest. Their names are Charlene, Christine, and Leslie. So I told Christine and Leslie first when I first came out and first realized I was gay at 16. Unfortunately, Charlene didn't find out that I was gay until I was 21 when I told everyone in the family. The reason being was because at the time, my sister was super close to my mom, and we would always say that she was the mom's favorite. We all know the truth. At the time, she was very close to my mom, and I was afraid that if I told my oldest sister that she would out me right then and there, and that I would be kicked out, you know? And there's like a fear of coming out to your parents that a lot of people don't realize, that you kind of have to mentally prepare yourself when coming out. Like I mentioned, it wasn't until I turned 21, or I think it was 21 or 20, that I decided to be like, screw it, I'm gonna tell the whole family, and I'm gonna let them know that I'm here, I'm queer, and I'm gonna throw this shit back on any guy. So my family and I, we have a group text, right? On Viber, and we're just like texting, and like everyone's like, oh my god, you're visiting, I can't wait to see you, this is gonna be great, the whole family's gonna be back together in California. And I was like, this is my moment. I'm 21 now, I'm an adult. I'm an adult, mom. I'm 21 now, I can make my decisions for myself, and if worse comes to worse, at least I'm at that age where I should be able to make decisions to support myself if it gets that bad. Actually, a lot of people don't understand that when people come out, some of them have to think about having a backup plan, a backup B through Z if it gets that bad, because sometimes you just never know how your parents are gonna react. I came out and I texted my family, you know, paragraphs. Basically just paragraphs about this whole coming out, what I feel, my experiences, and a few other details, but nonetheless, it was a mess. A total mess. I know that my sister called me, she was like, dude, what are you doing? You're gonna make the family stress. My other sister was like, couldn't you just wait? Like, how are you gonna do this on their trip? My mom called me, you know, scolding me, saying that my dad was crying. Where I was like, I still need to see them. Like, I can't just have my mom them visit, drop this bomb on them, and not expect to face them. I saw my mom, I saw my dad, I saw them, and like I was shaken, like shaken in my boots, girl. And the first thing that happened was my dad actually hugged me. My dad hugged me, he pulled me in close, and it was very touching. He asked if I was okay, if I was planning to self-harm, but it wasn't like a, I accept you, I love you, son, I'm happy, you're happy. It was more so, hey, please don't hurt yourself, because I would feel even more guilty. You know, honestly, I'll take it for what it is, and I'm just happy he didn't go ballistic on me, you know, and try to like kick me out, because I know that does happen to some other families. For the most part, my sisters are down with it, you know, all three of them are cool, they're in the loop now. They know that I have a boyfriend, they watch some of my videos, they watch my Snapchat, they know what I do, my daily life. I think for them, it's more so making sure that I'm a good person, and I hope I am a good person. I hope they think I'm a good person. Now, my parents is a different story. My parents don't speak of it at all. They're kind of like your typical Asian parent where it's, they know you know, but it's taboo and it's not to be discussed at all. We just don't talk about it. And sometimes we hint to it, sometimes it gets brought up, but it's very awkward. I do hope there's a point in time where we are able to like openly discuss it without being awkward, but till that happens, I'm kind of just happy knowing that I'm still part of my family. As far as my relatives, my parents' side, my dad's side, I think they know. They follow me on social media. As far as how I feel about their opinions, I really don't give a fuck. Okay, so I kind of debated whether or not I should leave this part out, and the only reason why I'm mentioning now, because I know this will help explain the importance of the next episode, but it has something to do with my mom. I don't think my sisters know this, but I actually came out to my mom when I was 17. So a year after I told the two other sisters, Leslie and Christine, and before I told, you know, everyone as a whole. I was 17, I was close to I think it was my senior year, and I think it was fall semester of my senior year that I decided to pour aside into my room, and I sat my mom down, and we had a very intimate conversation, and we talked about a lot of things, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I don't know if you know this, but I'm gay. Is that okay? You know, and I don't know, for some reason I thought I was gonna have like a fucking Disney moment, you know, and have that fantasy lived of my mom being like, oh my god, I always knew, and like I'm so like, you know, it's not what I want, but I'm gonna support you. Yeah, no, that did not happen. Things were said. In essence, what my mom said was that because I am gay, and for me being gay, that God has decided to take punishment on me by giving my family problems. And I won't go into detail about what types of problems or whatever specifically what it was, but that shit hurt, you know? Like my own mother, my mom, told me that for me being gay, I was the reason why my family was going through some tough shit. And I cried. Even till this day, sometimes when I talk about it, I get choked up just because it's such a pivotal moment in my life when I started to question my family and question my religion, specifically my church. But yeah, in those few years when that happened, it was really difficult for my mom and I to talk, to even have a normal conversation without me feeling like I was being fake or that I was being judged with her words. But you know, my mom's still a mom, you know, she still did her best to support me. She didn't treat me differently, but being, you know, coming out and being gay, I was very aware that things weren't the same. I was so affected by her words that I knew it wasn't the same. But what got me through it was, you know, talking to my sisters, talking to my siblings, I realized that it took me 16 years to accept my sexuality. My parents aren't gonna get it in the first year. Who knows? I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to accept it, but at least I still have them, and for that I am thankful. And that is the positive thought that's getting me through each day when I have to face them. I will admit sometimes I do get anxiety when I talk to them because I sometimes feel like it's gonna be brought up again. It's gonna be like back to 2000 whatever. But other than that, like my relationship with them is good and it's strong. I'm just kind of excited or anxious to see where it goes from here now that I am 24 rather than 21 or 17. Anyways, I know that is a lot to process. that was a shitload of information. But next episode, I'm going to be talking about my experience with religion and my church. As I mentioned, it has a lot to do with my family upbringing and my childhood. Please stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. Comment below, what is your coming out story? Are you out? Are you not out? Is your family accepting? Are they not? I know everyone has a different experience with, you know, being queer, but let me know. I want to see if there's anyone else out there who has experienced what I experienced. Till then, see you next episode, and thank you again for tuning in. Bye, y'all.